space and fewer resources? Could it help cities face the threats to our food supplies? Based on this title and this blurb, what do you think, what kind of passage do you think you will have? What kind of words do you expect? You can answer in the chat. Yes, there is no sound because I'm waiting for someone to answer. You can answer in the chat or you can unmute yourself. Since we're not that many, it's okay. You can unmute yourself to answer. What do I expect in this text? The benefit of urban farming, very good. Maybe I expect words that have to do with agriculture, the science of farming, right? And urban, that means we're talking about city. We're talking about modern, right? We're not talking about old stuff. We're talking about cities like Doha, London, very advanced cities, right? Now, after I've read the title and the blurb, I need to go back and I need to look at the questions because again, if I am skimming the text, what am I skimming for? I need to skip the text. I am not reading it yet. I go to the question. Now, step 2 is to identify what type of questions do we have. We have many questions, but they all fall into 2 different categories, and those are in-order questions and out-of-order questions. For the in-order questions, that means they are in order of the text. So if I show you an example of this, it's like when we have, for example, if we have the urban farming passage, so we've read the title and the blurb. Now we do step 2. We look at the questions, and now I need to know if this set of questions are in order or out of order. In order means that if I find number 1 here, and then I find, say, for example, number 2 here, number 3 will not be here. I don't need to look at this anymore. Number 3 will be after number 2. That's what we mean by they are in order of the text. So number 3 will come here, 4 somewhere here. It will continue. It could be even like you skip a lot of parts, and then 5, even though I skipped a lot, 6 will not come before 5. It will come after. These questions are easier to do because we have bracketing. Bracketing means that, say, for example, now I found number 7. I look for number 6. I look for number 7, but I can't find it. And I find number 8 here. Where will I look for number 7? Yep. Exactly. I don't need to look anywhere else. I don't need to look before here, and I don't need to look after here. It will be bracketed between 6 and 8. Exactly. So these questions tend to be a lot easier to do. The out of order questions means that they are coming in a random order. So if I have number 1 here, so let's say, for example, now I am doing out of order questions. I could find number 1 here, and number 2 here, and number 3 here, and 4 here. It doesn't matter. It will be completely out of order of the text. And these can be a little bit more time consuming because they are a little bit harder to find. But why do you think we do in order questions first? Other than they're easier to find. Why do you think we do them? They are more common? Yes, I suppose they are. Actually, it's like a random balance. We can never guess how many questions of each are going to come. It's completely random. But they are easier to find because of the keywords, that's true. But if I do my bracketing and my keywords and I find 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., and then I go and do my out of order questions, what happens? I already have an idea of what my text is about and where the information is, right? So when I come to look for questions 9, 10, 11 that are completely out of order, I remember that the passage had some information here about this, so I can go and search here first. Yes, exactly. We will understand what the passage is about already, which makes our life easier because the whole point of these tricks is to read about 50% of the text. I don't want to read the full text. I just want to read half of it because otherwise I'm spending too much time and then I won't have enough time to answer my questions. Okay. Any questions about this before moving on to the in order questions? Okay, let's move on. Now, the in order questions, there is a few of them. We have the filling the blanks. The filling the blanks is whenever I have a space that I need to fill with a word, it will be fill in the blanks. But I also need to pay attention to this here. For example, here it says no more than 2 words and or a number. This means I can write 2 words, like for example, apple, apple. This can work. I can also write apple and a number, 16, for example, or I can just write 16. Or I can write 2 words and 1 number. But if I write, for example, 16, 16, this will be considered wrong because here they're telling you only 1 number. And if I write 3 words, it will also be wrong even if I have the correct answer because they're telling you no more than 2 words. So you have to pay attention to these parts here. Okay. Now, the first kind of fill in the blanks is like this one. It's 1 by 1 sentence at a time that you need to fill in. Each question is a different sentence. The other type of fill in the blanks is like this one, where it's like completing notes, where it's like a table and the information goes inside the table. It's not sentences. And there's also another kind that I want to show you. Sorry if I have it here. Let me see. This kind. This is also considered filling the blanks because we have a blank that we need to fill. But this one is a summary. And instead of using words from the passage, I'm using words from a box. But anytime I have a space that I need to fill, these are considered fill in the blanks and they're always in order. Okay? Any fill in the blanks is always in order. The word should be found exactly or by meaning. Later, we'll actually discuss that when we practice it. Sometimes we look for keywords by meaning. Sometimes we look for keywords as they are, exactly as they are. But when they tell you you need to write a word from the passage, this means you're copy pasting the answer from the passage. So if number 4, I find my answer is like, I don't know, let's say again, apples. I don't know what I have with apples today. But let's say my answer is apples. I shouldn't write apple, one apple. Or I shouldn't write fruit. I should write it exactly the way it is here. Copy paste from the passage. Okay? The other type of in order question is true, false, not given. True is what we know, like if something is correct or false. Not given is the one that we struggle with sometimes. This one is if I can't find information on this and I find myself assuming, if you're assuming an information, then it's considered not given. So for IELTS, there is never any assuming, right? So you're never taking an answer that doesn't exist. It's either true, false, or it's not there. Okay, and we will practice this as well. Yes, we talked about that. The other one is yes, no, not given. It's almost the same thing. The other one is true, false, not given. But for true, false, not given, we're only checking if the statement agrees with the information. So if the statement agrees with what's written here. But for this one, yes, no, not given, it's asking me if the statement agrees with the claims of the writer. So here it's a little bit more. I have to understand the meaning of what is written rather than just looking at the facts, right? So it's a bit of reading in between the lines, but it's still not assuming. It's only if it's there that I say, yes, it agrees with what the writer is saying, no, it's not, or there is no information on this. Another type of in-order question is the multiple choice. Be careful with this. Multiple choice is when each question has its own choices, like this. So if I have a question like this one, so if I have a question like this one, where I have 3 questions, for example, and 3 choices that I need to match to each one, this is not considered multiple choice. But when I have a question, and each question has its own choices, this is considered multiple choice. And these are always in order as well. I like these because sometimes they will tell you exactly where you need to look for in the question. Here it says first, here it says second, but not always. So there is some tricks that we can use for this as well. Any questions about the in-order questions? Okay, let's move on to the out of order. Now, out of order questions are easy to identify because it's always anything that has to do with matching any information. So any matching is always out of order. So here we have matching details. So it's like the one that we just looked at in the example, this one. It's when I'm matching a detail to the kind of timber cuts, for example. So it's like I'm categorizing which one goes with which information. And here I'm matching a purpose with the correct example here, timber cuts. There's something to pay attention here, here. It's the NB. NB means you may use any letter more than once. Now remember that I told you every question has only one answer. So it doesn't mean I can say A or B in this one like this. This would be wrong. Even if one of them is correct, this would be considered wrong. But it means that if the answer for 19 is A, it's possible that 20 is also A, or that 21 is also A. or any of the other answers. That means one answer or many answers can be used as many times as necessary. Okay. We have matching details. And we have also, oh, we already talked about this, matching names. This is like matching details, but this one is when they ask you to match the statement to the correct person who said it. So is it who said this, for example? Is it A? And this one said B. And if I have NB, that means I can use a letter more than once, etc. But I am matching the statements with the person who says it. And then we also have matching headings. Headings means like title, or you could say like main idea. This is for when I'm matching a paragraph to a name for it. I skim the paragraph, I check the headings, and if one matches, I will match it to the paragraph. But this one doesn't have NB. That means when I use one, I don't look at it anymore. It's been used. Okay? And also, not all the time, everything will be used. Most likely, there's always one or two answers that are not used. Like, for example, here we have 8 answers, but here we have only 7 paragraphs. So one of them will not be used. The paragraphs that have letters next to them, remember when I told you there's 2 types of passages, ones that have letters and ones that don't have letters. When you see a passage that has letters, that means it's going to have out of order questions, for sure. But for the ones that don't have any letters next to them, they might have some out of order questions, but there won't be any matching paragraphs questions. So you can kind of like prepare yourself mentally for what you're about to do when you look at this. Now to recap, in order questions are filling the blanks, true, false, not given, yes, no, not given, and multiple choice. Out of order question is everything matching. Anything that has to do with matching something to something is out of order. And like we said, we do in order first because it gives us an idea of the out of order. And also this is less time. All right, so now is practice time. So what I'll do is I'll share with you the one that we were just looking at, and we will work on it together to practice filling the blanks first, and then on Wednesday, inshallah, we will do multiple choice and yes, no, not given. Okay, I sent it in the chat. Download it. Don't open it on browser. Download it, save it to your computer or iPad and use it there, because if you open it in browser, then everyone will be scribbling on the same paper. Okay. So let's say I am in the Ielts test. I've received my paper and I have this. What do I do now? What is my first step? Very good. Step 1, title and the blurb if there is one. Step 1, here and here. This is my step 1. So we've already read this one. It's about urban farming. We're using a soil-free approach, cities and food supplies, etc. Now, what is step 2? What do I do now? Read the questions, right? So I need to identify what kind of question it is first, right? Step 2, identify the type of question. I can see this one is filling the blanks. Fill in the blanks, is it in order or out of order? In order. Very good. So do I do it or do I skip it? Do it. Very good. Now, before I do it, I need to read the full question. It says choose no more than 2 words and or a number from the passage for each answer. So they're talking about urban farming in Paris. Now, when I come to doing the questions, when they are in order, I just read one by one. I find the answer for number 1 and then I do number 2. I don't read all of them and try to memorize the keywords. There's no need to do that. So here I have vertical tubes are used to grow strawberries and herbs. I highlighted vertical tubes. Why? Because it's unique, right? I won't read about vertical tubes everywhere. And I highlighted strawberries and herbs because I am looking for what comes between them. Remember, it's in order. So something that comes between them. Something is grown, like strawberries, something, and herbs. So keywords that I highlight are unique words, easy to find, they add meaning to the sentence. Right? So if I'm looking for 2, it's kind of useless, right? It doesn't change any meaning of the sentence. But here I'm talking about growing, so maybe I can find grow. Grow would be a good one to look for. What am I growing? The easiest keywords to find are names, and dates, and numbers. Names, dates, and numbers are the easiest to find, but we don't always have them, right? So we'll just look for other words instead. Now that I have my keywords, what do I do? Do I read? Now it's time to use one of my skills, and this skill is called scanning. I am scanning for the keyword. You know how in submarines or like boats, they have these like scanners for something around them, and it's like teet, 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 and it doesn't blink until you find the word that you're looking for? That's exactly what you need to do. You're only scanning, you're not reading. So what am I scanning for? Vertical tubes. Let me look for that without reading. And I find it right here. That means I don't need to read all of this. I just look at here. When I find my keyword, I will read that sentence only. If I can't find my answer in this sentence, I will read one sentence before and one sentence after. If I still can't find my answer, I skip it. I do number 2, 3, 4, and then I come back to it later. Otherwise, I'm wasting my time, right? So let's try and find the answer here. It says, from identical vertical tubes nearby burst row upon row of lettuces. Near those are aromatic herbs such as basil, sage, and peppermint. And the question is asking me, what else is being grown inside vertical tubes? I'm looking for strawberries, something, and herbs. Herbs is here in the sentence. That means something that comes before it. And I see here strawberries before it. So what else is being grown inside these vertical tubes? Yes, Ahmed, you can unmute yourself to answer. Or you can't? I don't know. Basil, basil is an example, right? It says herbs such as basil, sage, and peppermint. So these are examples of herbs. Lettuces, very good. So we have strawberries, lettuces, and herbs. My answer will be exactly like I found it in the text, lettuces. And I also need to mark where I found my answer, number 1, here, because then I don't have to keep searching where I found it. I highlight it. If you're not someone who likes to highlight in your text, just highlight next to it. I found number 1 here. That way I don't need to look again over here. Now, number 2, it says, let me use a different color. There will eventually be a daily harvest of as much as something in weight of fruit and vegetable. Now, I highlighted harvest, but also daily because time words are good. Where is this? Meaning of the sentence and time words. Time words help us to figure out which part am I looking at. Am I looking at the one that talks about once a month? Am I looking at the one that talks about every day? Daily is every day, so I'll look for something like that. As much as something in weight. Now, weight is what? Is like pounds or grams, etc. Something about the heaviness. We're measuring something here. And what are we measuring? Fruits and vegetables. So again, I go up. Now, when I ask students, where do I look? They always tell me go to the second paragraph, but don't do that. Sometimes the answer is right after the one you found. Sometimes it's in the same sentence. Don't skip anything. When you start scanning, scan from the last part you scanned. From here, you start scanning for something to do with daily harvest and weight of fruit and vegetables. We have harvest, we have weight, fruits and vegetables every day. So I will only read this sentence. I don't need to read anything else. Now, read the sentence and tell me what the answer is. Varieties, but here they're already telling us fruits and vegetables. Can I say as much as varieties in weight? Does that make sense? It has to make sense with the grammar of the sentence as well. 1000 kg, right? They're telling us they will harvest 1000 kg of fruits and vegetables every day. Let's see if it makes sense. There will eventually be a daily harvest of as much as 1000 kg in fruits and vegetables. Very good. Let's put here 1000 kg. Now, kg counts as one word and this counts as one number. Is it okay? Yes, it's only one word and one number, so it works. Now, I want you to do number 3 by yourself and type the answer in the chat. I'll give you 2 minutes. Great. So some of you have already found it. It says it may be possible that the farm's produce will account for as much as 10% of the city's something. Ya Allah. So even though we have an easy keyword, we should still be familiar with the meaning of the sentence. Because if it doesn't make sense, then it won't make sense. It won't be the right answer, I mean. So 10%, if I start scanning from here, I find it over here, and I just read the sentence. But if enough unused space can be developed like this, there is no reason why you shouldn't eventually target 5 and 10% of consumption. That is my correct answer. So number 2, we found it here. Number 3 is here. Consumption. Okay. Now, let's practice this one as well. Sorry. Let's practice this one as well, because the tables, the notes ones are a little bit different. So what do I need to pay attention to first? The one word only, right? So I can't write 2 words. I can't write a number, only 1 word. And the other thing is I need to read every single part of this. So I'm looking for intensive farming versus aeroponic urban farming. So this part here, 4, 5, and 6 is about intensive farming. And number 7 is about aeroponic urban farming. In the text, we skip a lot, so we don't read too much, right? But in the questions, we have to read everything so that our answers are correct, accurate, right? So we start, again, we do one at a time. It says here, growth, a wide range of something is used, and the techniques pollute the air. So the techniques that pollute the air will come after the wide range of something that is used. So I go back to my text. Now, before, it used to be that you can find number 4 after number 3 if you have 2 in order questions following each other. But in the new Ielts, it doesn't matter. It could come before number 1. But 4, 5, 6, 7 will come in order. So each set of questions, you have to look at them separately. Does that make sense? Noah, if you have a question?
Yes, teacher. I'm asking, does the order of the questions could help me asking a question? Like, for example, we have 6 paragraphs. The first would be at least the first 2. The answer would be the first 2 شو اسمه
Paragraphs?
The first, yes.
No, don't assume that ever. Because sometimes it could be that you will find the answers here, or sometimes number 1 could be here.
Okay.
So that's why we use scanning. It's better to check from the top and go down.
Another problem is my reading skills is a bit low. I could read, but so much low. Also, my vocabulary is very weak. So sometimes I read a new word. I don't know what it's meaning.
Okay, so I can help you with figuring out the meaning of the words if you come to an appointment. We use what we call context clues to understand the meaning around before we understand the word itself. But when it comes to Ielts, the best thing you can do is always see if the word makes sense here. So someone before said, yeah?
How I answer my question sometimes, that I look on the question itself. There is some words typical to the words on the some paragraphs. So when I see that there is a small hint about, or it would tell me about this is the answer, I put it directly.
But be careful with that. You always have to make sure it answers the sentence's meaning, right? The meaning of the sentence is very important. So if I had here another measure, for example, if I had 14,000 kilometers, it wouldn't make sense. Even though it's a number and a measure, it wouldn't make sense because I'm talking about weight. And maybe I have another one, like maybe 100 kilogram, but this one is talking about cement, for example, or bricks or something.
Okay.
I have to make sure that yeah, very good. But yeah, you can use, that's why we read the questions very carefully, not the text, because the questions always give us hints about where we can find the answer. So here we're talking about pollution and growth, and a wide range means a variety, many different types of something is used in intensive farming. So like I was telling you, we go back to the top and we start scanning for intensive farming. And we always, yeah?
Here, the question 4 comes after question 3 in order. Meaning that I will find it in the next paragraph or in the next sentence.
So before, yes, question 4 will always come before. In the IELTS before, it will come after number 3. But like I told you before, IELTS updates every year. Now, sometimes you will find number 4, for example, like maybe you can find number 4 here, not after number 3. But the set of questions, sorry, I can't hear you very well.
It's not necessarily in order.
Yeah, 4, 5, 6, 7 will be in order. This set of questions will be in order. So I won't find number 5 before, yeah?
In order, I mean after 3. It's not necessarily it would be after 3.
It's not certain that it will be after 3. Yeah, it might be before 3. So only look at sets of questions, not 2 sets of questions at the same time. Okay, so let's go look for intensive farming. And I find intensive farming over here, intensive farming techniques. So once I find it, I need to make sure I'm looking for the right thing. I'm looking for growing, using many different things of the same, and pollution of the air. So first I will read this sentence. It says, first, I don't much like the fact that most of the fruits and vegetables we eat have been treated with something like 17 different pesticides, or that the intensive farming techniques that produce them are such huge generators of greenhouse gases. So greenhouse gases, this is what? What is greenhouse gases? This is pollution. Greenhouse gases are pollution, right? So they're saying that this technique produces a lot of pollution. So I know that my answer comes before pollution. So let's go find what is used to grow in intensive farming. It says, I don't much like the fact that most of the fruits and vegetables we eat have been treated with something like 17 different pesticides. What are we mentioning here that has a wide range?
Pesticides.
Yes, very good. Pesticides. Exactly. Oh, you're right here. Pesticides. And that is my answer for number 4. And then once I'm done with number 4, I can look at number 5. Number 5, we're talking about the selection, and we're still talking about intensive farming, okay? So we're still in intensive farming. The quality is not so good. The varieties of fruits and vegetables can survive long something. And then I also look at the next one, sale, because I know that my answer will come before anything to do with sale. Okay? So I'm looking for the quality, and it can survive something for very long. We're looking for that something. So again, I don't skip anything. I start looking from the next sentence. Quality is so poor. Selection are selected for their capacity to withstand such substantial journeys, or that the price I pay for the wholesalers and transport companies, not the producers. So here we have something about money, the price, the sale. So I know that my answer is coming before this part here. So what can they survive for very long that makes their selection not so good? Yes, Ahmed, good job. Journeys, but again, spell it the same exact way it is in the text. The spelling is there for you, so always copy the same spelling. Does everyone understand how we got journeys? Great. So now that we found, yeah, tell me.
I have a question. Can you go back in the paragraph we find the answer? Now, if I know the answer is between quality is so poor and before that 80% of the price I pay goes. Now, Sebastian and journeys. I don't know the meaning of the two words. And I don't know. I know one of them is the answer, and I don't know what to do, what I should do.
Very good. Okay, I get what your question is, but here we have substantial journeys. Substantial is adjective, صفة, and journeys is noun, اسم. Now, if I look at the question here, the sentence, the varieties of fruits and vegetables are chosen because they can survive long. I already have an adjective. Can I have another one next to it? Long, substantial? No. Yeah. I will use?
No.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, for number 6, it says receive very little of overall income. So this is probably going to be a person or a group of persons or like an institution. Something receives very little of income, money. So let's go back to where we found it here. So the price I pay, remember we found journeys here. So 80% of the price I pay goes to wholesalers and transport companies, not the producers. So who receives very little income? Very good. The producers. Because 80% I pay goes to the wholesalers, not the producers. Here, the answer is producers. Now, I want you to try for the next 2 minutes to do number 7 by yourself. Pay attention to everything that is here. All of this and this. Very good. The answer is flavor. So let's go find it together. Here they're telling us no soil is used. The nutrients are added to water, which is recycled. Recycled, I need to find that because it will help me find the selection as well. And the produce is chosen because of there's a reason why these fruits and vegetables are chosen. And we need to find out why. For aeroponic urban farming. So right after it, I need to start looking. Produce grown using the soil-free method. The soil-free method is the urban farming, aeroponic farming, right? Enriched with organic nutrients, right? Okay. And then we have select crop varieties. So already we have the answers given to us here. So if I read from here, produce grown using the soil-free method, on the other hand, relies solely on a small quantity of water enriched with organic nutrients. So this is nutrients added to water. Pumped around a closed circuit of pipes, towers, and trays, sold locally just down there. It barely travels at all. You can select crops for their flavor, not their resistance to transport and storage chain, etc. They're already telling us here, you can select crop varieties for their flavor. So the answer is flavor. Very good. Okay, so for next, yes? Yeah, tell me.
I have a question. So basically, we should not look for aeroponic urban farming. Rather, we should look for the sentence that has the question in the program.
Can you speak a little bit louder, my dear? I can't hear. Can you repeat your question?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, much better.
Okay. I was looking for aeroponic urban farming.
Mhm.
So is that correct, or should I look for the sentence that has the question?
That's a good question, actually. If you look for aeroponic farming, you will find it much later. You will find it here.
It's not in the same paragraph. It's here. For the last one.
But if you look at the questions that are given us, because we're looking
Yes.
at selection. Sorry. I can hear myself, so it's confusing me.
The echo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you mute yourself? I'm sorry. Okay, it's always weird hearing your own voice.
I fell down from.
Okay, right. So to answer your question, we look at what the question is asking us. Because if I look at this, the whole text is about urban farming. Even though we haven't received the word aeroponic yet, because we haven't read every single word, it's best to look for the one that is being compared to intensive farming. Intensive farming, we found it because it's not what this text is about. The text is about urban farming. But we found intensive farming here because it's compared to the soil-free method. The soil-free method, no soil used, right? So that's why we look at everything in the question, not just one part. Our keywords have to be including everything. It's like what we did for vertical tubes. Maybe I could have found vertical tubes in other places, but I need to find out what they grow, strawberries and something else. It helps me to find the word that I'm looking for. Same thing that we do here. Is that clear?
Okay, so I should look for the aeroponic, and at the same time I should look for the sentence.
Yes, the growth, the selection.
Okay. Another question. When should I know if I should skip a question to another one?
You mean like here?
Like any question, basically, in Ielts reading. How to know if if I should skip it?
Only if it's out of order, you will do it last.
Okay.
If it's in order, you do it first. And then if you can't find an answer, you're spending too much time, just skip it. And then come back to it later.
Okay.
Okay, so on Wednesday, inshallah, we will be doing true, false, not given. And yes, no, not given. And multiple choice. And then we'll be done with, and we'll also practice the one that is like this, the box, filling the blanks. And then we'll be done with in order. And Thursday, inshallah, we will start doing the out of order questions. We will finish it in one day. And then Sunday, we will do listening. Okay? Any questions? Yes, Nawaf.
Yes, teacher. I'm asking, and how I can know which paragraph exactly have the answer?
Only
Because
by
the questions doesn't lead to, let's say, paragraph G, H, A. How I can find it so I can save much time reading?
In order questions, that's why we do them first, because it will help you when you reach the questions where it's paragraph A, B, C, etc. But for these, they don't tell you where to look. You have to find them looking at the keywords. So that's why we don't skip any paragraphs when we're scanning. So when I scan, I try to find the keyword and then I just read that sentence. And then I keep scanning for the next keyword without reading. And when I find it, I read only that sentence. So if you look here, we've only read what is highlighted. Out of the whole text, only what is highlighted is what we read. We didn't read anything else. This is for the last few questions, the true, false, not given. So like this, you are saving 50% of your time from reading.
So what you're saying is I have to first read the whole paragraph, then read the question and look for the specific word on a question and find it on the paragraph.
Exactly, but you don't read the paragraph. You don't look at the paragraphs until you have looked at the question. And then you only read the sentence that has this word.
You mentioned I have to read it 2 times.
Which one? So the text, so let me open it again so that it's like clean, because right now it's like, so for example, if I have this question and I'm looking for only this answer, right? I only look for this answer, this word that is together with these words, okay? These are my keywords. And then when I come to find it, let me make this bigger. I find vertical tubes here. See, I didn't read. I only scanned for this word. I will only read this sentence. Nothing else. So I don't need to read the whole paragraph. No, you don't pay attention to this. You only read this sentence. If you can't find it, if you can't find the answer, you will read one sentence before, one sentence after. If you still can't find the answer, you skip number 1, you do number 2. And then later you come back to number 1. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes. We're looking for a specific word from the question. Yes. And we have to find it all together. Then we can answer the question. If we didn't find it based on this method, we should skip it and go for another question.
Yes, exactly. And then at the end, say for example, you skipped number 1 and you found number 2 here, then you know that you only need to look here for number 1. That's why in order is easier.
Yes, I get it. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Okay, if there is no more questions, we'll end here for today, and inshallah, we'll meet again on Wednesday. Hassan, how much time do I give to a question? Once you practice these strategies, I promise you will spend maybe less than 40 seconds per question. when we practice more, inshallah, or if you want, you can book an appointment. Oh, let me open the booking an appointment scan. Oh, let me just open it again. Yeah, if you book an appointment, I'll give it to you next time, inshallah. Then you can practice more, and then you will see, you will not take much more than 1 minute per question.